Hey everyone, welcome back if you're returning and welcome if you're new. Today we'll be taking an updated look at my 2014 Honda Accord EXL V6, affectionately known as Bobby the Night Gen Accord, hence the license plate. Cosmetically, there are not too many things to go over, but there are a few mechanical updates that I wanted to share. And other than that, we'll just take it for a drive as always. About a year ago, I did a video on my former 1998 Honda Accord EX V6 in this exact same parking lot, so I figured it'd be kind of cool to recreate that walk around with this car now that it's my daily driver and only car. So again, starting off with the cosmetic stuff, there's not too many things to mention, and in fact, there's only one thing that I kind of have already mentioned. My goal was to kind of recreate the OEM Plus look that I had with my 6th Gen Accord, and one of the items that I had on that was the JDM style license plate. And take a look at that. The text is just obviously the year of the car, 2014. J35 has a J35Y1 as the powertrain, and then again, Bobby is the name of the car, if you will. And I can pretty much say I've effectively recreated the overall aesthetic of my 6th Gen Accord that sold back in September. The only thing that had that this car does not have and will never have was the Honda banner on the windshield. That was kind of an immature decision that I made when I first bought that car. At the time, I thought it looked good, but over time, just kind of grew out of my taste, but I never bothered moving it. And that covers pretty much the aesthetic stuff. Aside from the car just getting a fresh detail, that is about it. Moving on to the more mention-worthy area for this video, this is the J35Y1. It's a 3.5-liter single red cam V6 with iVTEC. It does have Honda's EarthDreams technology, as well as VCM, or variable cylinder management. In other words, 3 of the cylinders can cut off automatically for the purpose of conserving fuel. I'll be honest to say that I'm not the biggest fan of the system for reasons that I can go into more detail about later. To put it simply, I think I would rather sacrifice the bit of MPG that you save or gain because of the VCM than actually have it. If it was a more seamless system, then maybe, but it's honestly not. But nonetheless, the car does have about 115,000 miles. It actually rolled over this morning. So it's not very, very high mileage, but it's not very low either. Regardless, it was overdue, honestly, for some pretty significant maintenance. So about 4 days ago, I dropped it off to have the timing belt done, as well as the GDI fuel service, spark plugs, and valve adjustment. And then while it was there, I was almost due for another oil change, so I got that done as well. Since it is a Honda dealership, you can assume and correctly assume that it was pretty pricey. Out the door, after taxes, it was about $2,300 for everything. Financially, that was a big stab in my pocket, but it needed to be done. My goal is not for this car to get so behind on maintenance that I start to have issues. My 6th generation Accord had a very similar engine, J30A1, as opposed to this 3.5 liter, so just a half liter more of displacement. And that car was reliable, but mine specifically was very, very, very troubled, that's how I'll put it. And also, aside from getting those maintenance items taken care of, this car used to have a muffler delete. When I first bought the car, it was really quiet, and at the time, a little bit too quiet for my taste. I made the somewhat impulsive decision to get that done and regretted it almost instantly. With the muffler delete, the car sounded pretty good at idle and at lower speeds and lower RPMs, but once you got up to highway speeds, um, it started to drone more than necessary and more than I liked. So, long story short, about a month ago, I found a local muffler shop that was willing to put some mufflers back on it, and now it's back to stock form. So, there's that. Other than that, overall, the car continues to hold up very, very well. I've mentioned this a few times before, but I truly believe that this is the last classic Accord, if you will. Granted, I do love the 2018 to 2022 Accords as well, and if I could afford one, I actually would have a 2018 to 2020 Accord 2.0T with the 6-speed, but it wasn't possible. So, nonetheless, I really do enjoy this car. The 11th generation Accord, we don't even mention that over here, so just kind of move on. But I truly believe that Honda got it right. Most people prefer the refresh, so the 2016 to 2017 Accord, and in certain ways I could agree, but I really do like the 2013 to 2015 as well, and I can see myself having this car, one, until I pay it off because it is financed, and then also until the wheels fall off. My 6th generation Accord lasted until 204,000 miles under my ownership, and when I sold it, it became a kid's first car, so I'm pretty sure it'll last them even longer. And I see this car doing the exact same, if not longer. And I plan to keep it for all of those years and all of those miles. One thing that I can mention very quickly is I wish this car had remote start. The Touring, so one tier above the EXL trim level that I have, did come with push button start, or remote start, excuse me. But I guess one of the options that you lost out on by going for the EXL V6 as opposed to the V6 Touring was the remote start. That's something that really would have come in handy over this past winter. There is the option to install it aftermarket, but with most of the systems that I've seen, the minute you open the door to get back in the car shuts off. This slide, I'll mention some of the community posts that I posted recently. One of the most recent ones was a comparison between my car and my aunt's 2023 Accord, so the 11th gen that just came out. I truly don't know what Honda was going for in terms of the styling. The rear end, it's okay, but the front end, I don't know, it seems just a little bit half done. I can honestly say that that's the first Accord that's come out in my lifetime that I just blatantly have not liked. There's absolutely no desire in me to own that car at any point. And again, that's the first Accord that's been out or in production during my lifetime that I can say that for. So kind of sad. And then I also got a chance to test drive a 2023 Honda Civic Si, and not that the light has changed, we'll talk about that later. I try to baby it as much as I can for those reasons. But as you can hear, when it does get up to speed, it does so wonderfully, and it sounds amazing as well. I have absolutely no intention on buying any new car anytime soon. If anything, I would like to get a little like daily driver or runabout car so I can kind of keep some miles off of this, because it's at 115,000 miles, which is not a lot, but I don't want them to rack up too much. So maybe towards the end part of this year, beginning of next year, I'll invest in an older Honda. And when I say older, the very newest would probably be like 2010 or so, and it's most likely going to be much older than that. If I could find one, I really would like to get another 6th gen Accord. I do want to stay away from the V6, excuse me. Simply because I have that in this, I don't want it to be another automatic. So finding a 6th gen with the F23 and the 5-speed manual would be ideal. And if other than that, like an EM1 Civic EX would be nice. Those are really hard to come by, and even when I come by them in my area, surprisingly, they're usually all automatic. But either, again, the 6th generation Accord with the F23 and 5-speed, an EX on EX with leather, or an EM1 Civic, either of those would be really nice. But that's far in the future right now. That's pretty much it for this video. Just kind of wanted to go over that one cosmetic thing again, and then the host of mechanical things that I've gotten taken care of recently. This car continues to amaze me with how well it's held up. Again, I truly believe that this is the last of the classic Accords, or the 9th generation in general. The V6 specifically, which brings me to another point very quickly before I leave. I test drove a 2016 Honda Accord Sport with the K24 and the 6-speed, again, just out of curiosity. And I can gladly say I'm happy with my decision to get the V6 instead. It was fun to drive for an Accord, and I can't say that this is universal to all of them, but the one that I test drove in particular was really buzzy. It wasn't refined at all. The shifter was really nice, but you come to expect that out of a Honda. But honestly, the shifter being nice, and well, no, honestly, the only thing that I can give it is the fact that the shifter was nice. Other than that, it's night and day compared to the V6, which is to be expected. But not going to be the dead horse. That's pretty much all I have. Stick around for the next video. I can't promise when that'll be because I really don't have any plans for this car anytime soon. But whenever I have something to record and post, I will certainly do that. And I appreciate you for watching.